James Melendez, this wine glass is next, a Riedel Sommelier glass. I'll give my thoughts and perspectives on this tasting glass. Stay tuned. You know, when I had this glass, I've had two of these. I broke one of them already. So I've had this for about a generation and a half. I don't use it, and that's probably why I won't break this one ever. And it's a curiosity glass. So Riedel has produced, I would say, two different tasting glasses, especially for professionals. So this is titled a sommelier glass, and it's one where, you know, you have a predefined amount you'd pour in the glass and taste maybe many glasses of wine and pour them out easily. I was actually thinking before I did this video that I'm going to hate this wine glass and I'm going to give it the worst score ever possible. And as it turns out, I'm not giving it the worst score possible, and it's not the worst wine glass, believe it or not, that I've ever tasted from. Now, this is not being produced, and for good reason. There's no good solid reason for tasting a wine in this glass at all. And Riedel also produced a black glass, so you can't see through it. And the fault there is you can't see the coloration of the wine. You can't see for a white wine what's the color of the Chardonnay, for example, and maybe you even want to see that on a Pinot Noir. So there's so many different ways that you want to see the wine, and I think it's really important to see the wine. Now, I think I made this a more successful glass simply because while I poured this specific amount, I wanted some surface area, so I poured above that just a bit. Now, that's not going to give you consistency if you're using this as a tasting glass format. And that's really the perspective of this glass. I would never do a technical tasting out of a glass like this. So I really didn't want to give this the worst score if it really wasn't a bad glass. So I definitely had to compare this against, say, a Bordeaux glass and also against a Burgundy glass. And of course, they're going to taste different, right? And so there is a characterized difference in these wines altogether. This is going to have, especially the Bordeaux and the Burgundy, are going to have some really nice surface areas. So from the surface area to the rim of the glass, you're going to have a good distance to enjoy and smell the wine and get captivated by the wine because there's some surface area to play with. And you can register to the wine by that experience from, again, surface to the rim of the glass itself. So I think a great success on these glasses here. Now, of course, this is very diminutive, very small, not very attractive, and you have a very small surface area here. You also don't have a big circumference area here, so when you're smelling the wine, you're not really going to smell it the way you would with these other glasses. So the other thing that's interesting, so I just cleared some of the wine out of the glass itself, is it doesn't go quite to the top of the surface area. So you could put this glass on its side and you can see it spilling over to a larger surface area. While that could be helpful, it still doesn't make that experience to this glass here or to this Bordeaux glass here. And so you're still left with a deficit of experience. And so while it does seem really a good concept, the concept doesn't translate in terms of the experience, and that's very unfortunate. So with all these other wines, I'm pouring the same exact French Syrah and same producer, same vintage, and I definitely wanted to make sure that was calibrated correctly. So this wine is going to present with notes of red and black fruit notes, as well as sanded cedar, dried leaves, and expansive floral characterization. And next, the palate characterization. So notes on the glass are it's a vibrant and lively acidity to the wine, raspberry and blackberry notes, pepper, clove, and red tea. Now, this definitely does not perform. I did the same exact tasting on this glass here, and it just doesn't seem to have the same experience. And it's actually, even trying to get this into your palate is very, very difficult to do. So it's not a comfortable wine glass to be drinking from either. I feel I have to look all the way up in order to taste the wine from this glass. And so it's a lot of effort to taste wines from this glass. I'd rather have a normal wine glass. So other notes on this glass, it's just not very attractive, right? And so you can see right here, very thick bottom. So I guess for tipping capabilities, you're not gonna, tip over this wine glass. And so this is supposed to be, I guess, a really cool factor. It's okay, it's not that great. And then you have this top from the bottom of the bowl to the top of the glass itself. So it's not quite a bowl itself because it doesn't close. And so the characterization on this is, I would say, not as bad as I expected, but also not as lively as a Burgundy or a Bordeaux glass. So, ultimately, this glass is 90 points out of 100 points. It's not a great score, so 90 points is not something that I think is a remarkable point score for a wine glass. And so I bring this out because it's a curiosity glass at most to, talk about these wine glasses and, what they were about, and just as a curiosity that it was trying to be something more than it could be. It wasn't a terribly practical glass to use, so I cannot find anything additional from the producer on this wine glass, and that's probably why they don't produce it. They're just not going to talk about a glass that was not successful. So thank you for watching. Please give a like, subscribe to this channel. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and WordPress. Have you ever tasted wine from a glass like this? And your comments and thoughts on this glass. So, and if you've also, I'd be curious if you've tasted from the black blind tasting glasses. I'd be curious about that as well. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video review. Stay tuned for more. Santé.